Hi, everyone. It's great to have you here. I'm Tracy Yunkin, and I'm passionate about helping healthcare leaders stay ahead of the curve when it comes to new technologies. Now, I like to simplify IT concepts into business-oriented language, and whether you're struggling with data initiatives, trying to make informed decisions about new technologies, or dealing with constant changes in the market, I got you covered. Now, for those who've joined us in previous sessions, it's really great to see you back. For those of you that haven't been with us before, today we're going to continue our discussion into the exciting role of generative AI. And we're going to take a deeper dive, especially into how generative AI is being used in healthcare. Now, generative AI is revolutionizing various sectors in the market, and healthcare is no exception. Generative AI is creating synthetic patient data for research. It's generating 3D models for surgical planning, and it's even crafting personalized treatment plans for patients. But the real magic happens when it interacts with patients. Now, I know that we've heard about ChatGPT. That is one generative AI model that was developed by OpenAI. There are many different generative AI models out there that are being used. I'm going to focus mainly on ChatGPT, but I will bring in a couple of other ones later as I talk about the case studies that are being reported on. Well, a lot of us just think that ChatGPT is a chatbot, and it's not. It's a language model that can generate human-like text based on the input it receives. Now, it understands context, it can generate detailed responses, and even show empathy. So, can you imagine the possibility that this opens up in healthcare? ChatGPT is revolutionizing patient interactions, no matter where they occur in the clinical setting. It answers patient questions, it can provide health information, and it even assists providers in decision making. There was a study that was published in JAMA, and it found that ChatGPT outperformed actual doctors in answering patient questions, and it came with higher quality and more empathy. And that wasn't about 78% of the evaluations. I want to be really, really clear here. This is not about replacing doctors or providers. It's about enhancing their capabilities and performing cognitive offload. And I talked about cognitive offload last week, so you can go back and watch that video. What that means that it starts to free up the time of the providers for more critical tasks like patient interaction. I mean, if we go back and we think about it, and we think about the amount of burnout that all of our providers are feeling these days, right? I don't think any of them pictured themselves as administrators and scribes when they were going through their white coat ceremonies or their pinning ceremonies. It just wasn't what they were thinking about. And I believe, like physicians, like providers, like patients, we all want to get back to that relationship where we could talk and have time for one another. So let's delve a little deeper into some case studies. There is a study published in PubMed, and it showed how ChatGPT could be used in radiology. So it provided clinical decision support, and it helped to identify the appropriate imaging services for breast cancer screenings and breast pain. Now, can you imagine the impact that this could have on clinical workflow and the responsible use of radiology services? We know radiology is a high dollar ticket item in healthcare. And one of the main concerns is that we don't want to continually over radiate or use radiation when it's not necessary on patients because it does have negative outcomes. Now, the magic of generative AI doesn't stop just there. It actually was used in dermatology, and they used a different model called Deep Convolutional Generative Adversarial Networks. So they call them DCGANs, and those are being used to detect skin cancer. And they demonstrated in the most recent study in the Journal of Sensors that a company called Laudio is using generative AI to automate the workflow in partnership with Northwell Health and Nebraska Medicine. These two organizations are using they're using generative AI on frontline workflows as well as clinical workflows. So I'm going to be really excited to see what this published data looks like around this comprehensive rollout of AI, both in the clinical and the administrative settings. So this is something to keep your eyes on. Now let's turn our attention to a real critical condition, and it's probably it's a bad outcome for patients and for providers: sepsis. Now, researchers from the University of California, San Francisco, UCSF, And Google's health research unit, Google Health, used a deep learning model to predict acute kidney injury, AKI. Now, that's a condition that's often associated with sepsis up to 48 hours before it occurs. So the model was trained on a data set of over 700,000 patients from the VA. Now, if we can hone this down and teach the AI when and the symptomology around sepsis, can you imagine how many lives could be saved with such an early intervention? I could go on and on and on with different innovations that are happening right now. And if you Google generative AI in healthcare, you're going to get somewhere like 31.9 million results in less than a third of a second. And I'm not going to go through all of them, don't worry, but I'm going to stop at this last case study of another application of AI, drug discovery. And this is something that we're hearing a lot of. And so researchers from In Silico Medicine used a GGN, it's called GENTRL model, for new drug design. Now, the model is trained on a data set of DDR1 kinase inhibitors, and those are potential targets for fibrosis. And the model was used to generate novel molecules with desired properties in just 21 days. Think about the time and the cost savings associated with such accelerated drug development. I talked about that last week when we're going to need the FDA and other regulatory bodies to think before thinking about what's happening in the world right now, because we have ways now to go faster, get better results, but we also have to always, always, always have a human in the loop thinking about what does this mean to the general population? What does it mean to the everyday person? Right. So it's really, really exciting to me that the future of healthcare is here, and it is being shaped by generative AI. The future is not without its challenges, though. And as we integrate AI into healthcare, we must be mindful about potential biases to ensure the privacy and the security of patient data. And we need to maintain the human touch so that um, it's essential that we maintain that human touch in healthcare. And I talked about that. Just being able to go in and see your provider and talk face to face and not have them tied up at the computer. Just being able to go in and have a conversation with other colleagues, having access to more information if you're a provider. We do need to have humans in the loop. I talked about that last week as well, about how we do need to be able to train the models and have humans there looking at the outputs to make sure that we are garnering and that we are gathering the best of the best, the cream off the top. Now, as we navigate these challenges, what are the conversations are we going to be having to do this effectively in our organizations? So, to all of you here, I urge you to think about how you're going to start engaging the right resources in your organization and to start those discussions about incorporating generative AI into your strategic planning processes, because it is here to stay. Consider how you can use AI to enhance your patient care, improve your clinical workflows, and accelerate drug discovery. And as we said, how do you use this using that operational, unstructured data that we are so rich in? The future of healthcare is not just about doctors or nurses or pharmacists. It's about all of the professionals working together with AI to provide the best possible care for our patients. That means that we are no longer going to be siloed in structures. Organizations are going to have to become flatter, where we are talking across specialty areas and not just within our own echo chambers. So I encourage you not to get left behind and to lead the charge to help shape a future where healthcare and AI go hand in hand to improve lives, one algorithm at a time. So as we step into this future, I leave you with this question. How are you going to harness the power of generative AI to transform healthcare? I need you to get comfortable being uncomfortable and embrace the future of healthcare. Discover the power of AI for your company. It's complicated, so let's collaborate, reach out, and let's have a talk. All right. We'll catch you guys here next time where we're going to continue this series on generative AI. All right. See you later.